Discovering yourself. I feel like that's something that everybody wants to do these days, to try and figure out who they really are. There's a lot of really good books you can read on that subject, and a lot of really smart people you can listen to. I wouldn't recommend doing it the way that I did it though, because the way that I found out who I really was by sucker punching someone in the face. Let me give some context. It's a humid Saturday night during the summer. I'm at church. Our youth pastor used to be a professional MMA trainer and taught us how to fight on weekends. He called it Project Iron. It's my first time going. I'd done some taekwondo when I was younger and a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but that happened years ago. I'm so new to fighting that I didn't know to use hand wraps. For my second sparring match, I was paired up against Jeremiah, one of the church's infamous Kim brothers who all have black belts in taekwondo. He's about a foot taller than me and had been going to Project Iron since the pandemic. The only reason I was paired up with him was because he had a broken wrist. Despite all of that, I was feeling pretty confident. I had held my own in my first sparring match and I thought I could do the same in my second. I was wrong. Jeremiah demolished me. I spent a full round, 3 minutes, getting punched in the face over and over. And when the round finally ended, I felt something snap inside of me. I was in pain from being beaten so hard and embarrassed from losing so easily. So, when Jeremiah wasn't looking, I raised my fist and I slammed it into the side of his head. I brought the incident back up at one of our Sunday discussions, and our youth pastor said that it was the second best sucker punch he had seen at Project Iron. Jeremiah said that it was a really good punch. In the end, we all agreed that it was just something dumb I did when I first started boxing. But I surprised myself with that punch. I never considered myself someone who's capable of hurting someone else like that, especially over something as dumb as a sparring match. But my pride had been so fragile that I felt like I needed to get back at Jeremiah after he beat me. And I think that's pretty messed up. There was another time during a different Project Iron, I was having fun, sparring with my friends, when our youth pastor called me over. He noticed that I looked away whenever someone punched me. Obviously, looking away from your opponent in the middle of a boxing match isn't the best idea, so he wanted me to practice not doing that. So, we started to drill. He would punch me, and I would have to dodge without looking away. If I looked away, then he would punch me in the stomach. Sounds easy enough, right? Apparently not. I spent another full round looking away and getting punched in the stomach over and over. And for anyone who hasn't been punched in the stomach before, it hurts. A lot. And as that was all happening, I started to feel kind of funny. My throat started to hurt and my eyes started to blink a lot, like there was something stuck in them. When the round finally ended, I tore off my gloves, ran to the bathroom, and started to cry. I never considered myself someone who cried, but there I was, sobbing into a toilet bowl. I think above all else, my experience with fighting has been one that is very humbling. Why is that? I think it's something like this. When you step onto that mat, it doesn't matter how highly you think of yourself. The person who is better at fighting will win. And fighting is as mental as it is physical. Our youth pastor always says that if you have the technical know-how, the experience, the knowledge, it doesn't matter if the guy you're fighting is 6'8" and 228 pounds. If you have the technique, you're going to win. So, what does that say about you if you lose? Fighting is something that strips us of the image we have of ourselves in our heads, and when we lose, it shows us that we, at a base mental and physical level, weren't enough. The kind of person we become when we see that is the person we really are. Like what happened with Jeremiah, there was no way I was going to be able to beat that guy. Like I said, he's a foot taller than me and had been going to Project Iron since the pandemic. He is a much better fighter than I am. But in my pride, I thought I was going to be able to beat him. And in my pride, I felt like I had to get back at him after I lost. And with my youth pastor in the drill, I thought of myself the same way probably a lot of other guys my age think of themselves, as a calm, cool, collected individual who can handle anything that life throws at him. But that all went out the window when I started crying in that bathroom. I was not this emotionally mature young man that I thought I was. I was in fact someone who's very easily emotionally overwhelmed, and someone whose only way of expressing that emotion was to start crying. And as I saw all of these things through my fighting, I started to see other areas in my life that I was lacking. I was being a jerk to my friends and family, I was slipping in my academics, and I was trying to show off how good of a person I was, even at places like church. And I tried to get better, but no matter what I did, I felt like I just kept failing and falling. And there's just one thought running through my mind this entire time: what if I'm not good enough? Because up to this point, I've shown myself nothing but that when the stakes are high, when things really matter, I can't handle them. I fall apart. And I just felt like I was going deeper and deeper into this pit that I was never going to be able to get out of. But one day, as I sat in that pit, I had a thought that brought me out of it. What if I don't have to be good enough? You'd think that with everything that happened, I would stop going to Project Iron. But I kept going. Why? Because it was really fun. At a certain point, I just realized that these people I'm going up against are very strong, very skilled, very athletic individuals, while I am an art school kid with instant noodle arms. I probably won't be able to beat them for a long time, if at all. So if I'm not going to be able to win any of my sparring matches, I might as well try and get something else out of them. So I decided to try and learn something. I would study my opponents as they fought. I would formulate strategies on how to defeat them. And when I fought them for real, I would test out those strategies. And if they didn't work, I would make up something on the spot. A counter punch here, a new combo there. And you know what? That was really fun. I finally understood what they meant when they talk about the sweet science. When the person in front of you stops being a person but a puzzle. Each strike you land is one of 1,000 possible solutions to that puzzle. And asking myself the question, what if I don't have to be good enough, allowed me to think that way about my life. Because if I accepted that, yeah, I'm not enough to live up to this image that I have of myself in my head, or that other people have of me, then the pressure's off. It doesn't mean I should stay there. I think it would be very beneficial for my life if I didn't go around punching people in the face and crying in bathrooms. But when I fall, when I fail, when I screw up and find myself in that pit again, it's okay. Because I was never perfect, and I never had to be. I don't know where all of you are at right now. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know how you're hurting. But I know this. You don't have to stay there. You can get out of it if you remember that you don't have to live up to the expectations that the world tries to force on you or that you have of yourself. And it'll be hard to live like that, but the brain's just like any other muscle, right? Just like you'll fight better if you drill over and over, it'll be easier to live that way if you think that like that over and over. And then you can really start to fight. Really try to change. Get your guard up, learn your ones and your twos, stay light on your feet and in your soul. Thank you.